Hi, my name is Russo. Just a little bit of background on my project. I performed the ASQ assessment with a 6-month-old infant girl. Based on my observations, she tested very well. She fell above the cutoff in every category, indicating that she is developing on time according to her age cohort. This project was beneficial to me in kind of giving me an idea of the basics of working with clients, especially families. I feel like working with families is unique because you have a bias with the parents and a limited communication from the child based on their understanding of their experience in the world around them. And so as a social worker, you kind of have to read between the lines of what the parents are saying and what you're observing with the child's behavior and development. And you have to process all that information in such a way that you're able to produce an informed assessment and provide some sort of intervention if that's necessary. So it involves a little bit more problem solving and creativity than working with some other clients in some ways. Obviously, each client is unique, and I mean, there's always going to be some sort of bias that you're trying to filter through and understand the cultural implications that affect and in ways that clients don't understand. So child development and working with children and families is just one particular facet of that, but I do feel like this experience gave me unique insights into what that will look like professionally, which I'm very excited for. I enjoyed working with the family to perform this assessment. Overall, I feel like understanding children's development, like I said, is important to social work because children can't communicate in the same way and to the same depth as adults because of their limits of understanding. They know the world as it's presented to them and have a limited foundation of understanding their life in the context of the lives of other humans. I also feel like this is important for social work simply because everyone was a child once, and our childhood experiences greatly affect who we are as adults or teens. And so understanding children's development is a foundational tool for other realms of social work practice, even if you're not working directly with children. And even if you're working with an adult, I mean, if they have a child and they're frustrated about some sort of issue, you need some sort of foundation of understanding of child development in order to help the adult process their concerns in their own life. I do feel like this assessment, based off of my research, some of the articles I read, the ASQ is a valuable source for social workers. It does, I think, have its own limitations culturally, depending on the age group. With a 6-month-old, because there are fewer, how do I say this? The things that are being observed are not necessarily, don't have a lot of cultural influence. They're more like those biological processes that kind of set up developmental stages. And so at this age, at 6 months, children are developing reasonably. I mean, the goal is for them to develop reasonably within the same time frame, in the same developing skills in the same order, and that's universal to humanity. It's not until a little bit older that cultural influences of like language, etc., come into play. Obviously, when working with parents, there is that cultural component, which could influence the efficacy of this assessment in the region that I live in, which is Arizona. We have higher levels of immigrant populations, and so I feel like that would be something to take into consideration when performing this assessment to make sure that there are no cultural biases presented. Overall, I feel like this assessment, though, is very effective, especially at this age.